you can see, I've got the camera already set up, and what I'll be doing for this unboxing is unboxing my laptop. So yeah, I have checked in there, that's just like all of its benchmarking tests and stuff that they do before they send it out to make sure that your product does work. Now I need to get my homemade knife. Where have I put it? Ow. So, let's open this. We're still in frame, sort of. Well, they definitely made sure that this was a tight seal on that. Same over here, I presume. Yeah, right, so now we need to cut it across the top. Okay, there we go. Now, mine comes in a fancy box. Oh, look at this. This is fancy, isn't it? But you know what? I'm going to cut to a wider shot. We need a proper unboxing here. Okay, so what I have now done is I have cut to a wider shot because this is going to be a good unboxing. Let me just move that box out of here. Okay. 3XS Systems, specification, service satisfaction. Okay, so this is the box that it comes in. Now I need to move the camera back. Okay, so apologies for all of the camera moving about. I didn't feel that unboxing it on my desk was good enough, so I moved it onto the floor. Anyway, let's open the box. Here we go. Here we don't go. Okay. Oh, so now we've got another one of these unboxing things. Oops. Oh dear. It's falling on the floor. Right. Okay. Okay, so here we have the charger. There's the wall adapter and there's the power brick. So that's just a charger. The other one of these phone things is still in the box. Here we have manual and like if your system isn't working, looks like you've got a few heat compounds there and two of those, whatever they are. All in different languages. Anyway, let's get to the unboxing here. Oh, right. Duh. Okay, look at this. Oh, this is fancy. I like it. Oh, look at that. It's not a glossy screen. Ow! Static shock. Here we go. What's that? What's that thing? Should we turn it on? There we go. Yep, the keys are light up. Style notes. So here we've got a headphones, microphone, USB 2, USB 3. Then over here we've got a USB 3, a USB-C, a HDMI, 2 display ports, an Ethernet, and then a power connector. And this is a 1080p display. Let me go and get my mouse. What's the trackpad like actually? I'll still rather use a mouse, to be honest. It's just easier. Who's going to use this PC? Frazer's going to use this PC. Next. No, I don't want Cortana, go away. If you use Cortana, we will always be listening. Will you? Okay. Hello, hi. We're happy that you're here. Here we go with the cheesiness and... I'll be back once it's at the desktop, same as last time. Okay, so here we are at the desktop. So now let's show you the specifications of this laptop. So it is that time in the video where I show you the specifications of this laptop, and we'll just say at the moment the laptop is plugged in via its charger, which means it is essentially running off the mains, and also it's running those programs in the background, which are the standard ones I run, such as like antivirus, graphics thingy. I've got my audio one, and that one there is Flux, which I find is really useful. That basically lowers the blue light in the display so it doesn't disrupt your something rhythm I can't remember the official name for it, so I'll put it on text across the screen, and at the moment I thought I'd close that down. And for the background programs I'm currently running is Task Manager, Hardware Monitor and GeForce Experience. Anyway, let's jump straight into the specifications. Here I have Hardware Monitor, 64-bit open. I've closed everything except what I've left open, which will be of use during the specifications. So the CPU is an i7-7700HQ. It is a 4-core CPU, so it's a quad core with 8 threads. And if I just pull up Hardware Monitor, there we go, you can see the specifications there. Maximum speed 2.8 gigahertz. Now I think you'll find that wrong. The 2.8 gigahertz is actually the minimum speed of this CPU, whereas it can boost up to 3.8. But yeah, that's wrong, because as you can see there, it's clearly running higher than that there. But no, the minimum speed is actually 2.8 gigahertz. The maximum boost speed without overclocking is 3.8. So yeah, that's wrong. I don't know why it says that, to be honest. So then if we look at the temperatures, then we can see the package temperatures is around about 70, which is running a bit hot if you ask me, but then again this room is ridiculously hot. So yeah, as you can see there, boosted up to 3.8, currently running at 3.5, 3.4, near enough. Moving on, we have the RAM. I have 8 gigabytes of RAM installed. Let me just open up Task Manager again because I thought it would be a good idea to close it. Okay, so here is the RAM I am running. There's currently 8 gigabytes installed physically. I could upgrade that to 16 gigabytes in the future. I'm not sure what RAM it's using, but I do know it's a Corsair brand. It's a laptop, so it's obviously SODIMM memory. It's DDR4 and it's running at a speed of 2133, so that's 2133 megahertz. And the reason why it says there's more than 8 gigabytes of RAM right there is because that is also using that virtual memory, which I have enabled because I only have 8 gigabytes of RAM, and if you've only got 8 gigabytes of RAM, it's best not to disable the virtual RAM, I believe it's called, because then Windows could run out of RAM and your computer may crash or something like that. Anyway, that is enough talking about the RAM. So yeah, it's Corsair DDR4 running at 2133. I don't know why it says 2132. I'll let it off. It's only like, it's one figure off. So that's running at 41 degrees. Then moving down to the only storage drive currently installed on this laptop. I will just say I can expand this storage on this laptop because it does support a M.2 SSD, but I don't have one of those installed currently. But what I am running as the main OS drive, it's the only drive in the laptop, so of course it will be the OS drive, but that is a Corsair Force LE SSD, and that will be the 240 gigabyte version. So I have just been editing the video and I realised I didn't include any speeds or anything regarding the Corsair Force LE SSD that the laptop features. So I've specially gone back, set up the camera, and right here you can see the speeds that the SSD runs at. So this is Crystal Disk Mark 5.2.1 64-bit. It has ran, where's my finger? There it is. Where's my finger? There it is. It has ran 7 tests of 8 GB on the drive, both read and write, and those are the end results for like these different modes down the side here. Pretty much all of which I have no idea what they're on about. But in case you wondered, there's the speeds to the SSD that this laptop has. It's running at that temperature, not that, like, that's, for me, considering it's in a laptop as well, that temperature's, I'm happy with that temperature. For the main primary GPU, it is running a desktop NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1050 Ti, and for the secondary graphics or backup graphics, the graphics that are in the CPU are the Intel HD graphics 630. I've got no idea if they're good or bad. Well, it's internal graphics, so for like gaming or rendering or whatever, it's going to be pretty much pointless. But the main GPU that it uses is a desktop GTX 1050 Ti, and then I've run out of specifications to say. So there's all of the main specifications. I can remember one specification that I have missed, so let me just go and open Device Manager here. Oh yes, just give it permission, I know it's fine. And then if I find out where it is, there it is. For the Wi-Fi adapter, it is using a killer wireless network adapter. I don't know any of the fancy terminology or specifications of that Wi-Fi adapter. All I know is that it's a killer wireless adapter. So I think that sums it up for the technical specifications, where there's like temperatures and clocks and all sorts. But just for those people that like things nice and simple, there's the specifications simplified, laid out nice and clear so you can read them. Oh yeah, I also forgot to mention the display is a 15.6 inch 1920 by 1080p display running at 60 Hz, as you can see there. So yeah, that is the specifications of this laptop. Now what I'll do is I'll jump cut you to a video I actually recorded 2 days ago when I went and ran several different benchmarks on this laptop. I will just point out that before I start the benchmarks, that the laptop is plugged in to the mains via the charger. Therefore, the performance of the laptop should be at its maximum because it's essentially being powered from the mains. Because with modern day laptops, well, all laptops at the time of this recording, when you unplug the laptop automatically recognizes that it's no longer getting power from the mains. Therefore, it will like cut the performance of the components in the laptop so it doesn't quickly drain the battery. But if I plug it in, it should perform to its maximum capacity that the components within it allow. The camera keeps like going out of focus and then going back in because it's looking at my desktop, which is just a black, just like a black background. But once application opens, it will be able to focus on that. But anyway, as this laptop is primarily advertised as a gaming laptop, I will be running some benchmarks on it. So I will be using 3D Mark, the basic edition. I'm not going to bother running Ice Storm or Ice Storm Extreme. I'll just jump in there and run Cloudgate, Skydiver, and then the just the normal Fire Strike, because in order to get the Extreme one or the Ultra one, you need to have the Advanced Edition only of 3D Mark, and I only have the Basic Edition. As I have the Basic Edition, it means that I can't run any custom settings, which means it's really simple. All I need to do is just click Run because there's nothing to configure. Anyway, enough said, let's just click Run. I will just say before it loads, I will not make you watch the entire benchmark. I'll like time-lapse the benchmarks all the way through, so I'll do that, and then I will be right back once this benchmark's finished, and then we'll move on to the next one.
Hey, you make me feel like a rebel, but I will not give you a reason to destroy me more and more again and again.
Okay, so there is the Cloudgate benchmark finished. I will just zoom in a bit. So as you can see there, the overall score was 21,718, and if I won't read everything out, I'll just point the camera at it, make sure it's focused, and you can read it in your own time. So then for the physics score, there is that, and then there's just the specifications of the laptop again. Now if I could compare this result with the online one, then it comes up here. So my score, well, the score for this laptop is considered that out of the multiple, probably millions of computers that have run this benchmark now. So yeah, that is it for the Cloudgate benchmark. I will now go ahead, close that down, go back to benchmarks and run the Skydiver benchmark, and then I'll just repeat what I've already done. So now I'll just go ahead and run Skydiver, and I'll time-lapse all of this again. Oh, I've walked into my cross trainer. So there is the end of the skydiver benchmark, and I'll do the same as what I did before. Overall there was a score of 19,456. Oh, I need to, there we go. So for the graphics score, you can see that there. For the physics score, you can see that. And for the combined score, you can see that. And then there it's just got the laptop specifications again. But what I will do is I'll do what I did before. Oh, it's up there. Is compare to the online results, and then we get this nice little graph. Okay, don't show me again, thank you. So when it comes to the overall rating of the skydiver score for this laptop, that's what I got, which is apparently better than 68% of all results. So now I'll just close that down, go back to this bit like that, head back to the benchmarks, and now we shall run the Firestrike benchmark. Just make sure that you can see everything on the screen and that the camera's set up properly, which it is. So now I'm just going to go ahead and run the Firestrike benchmark. So that is the end of the Firestrike benchmark with a total score of 6,580. So if we go down there you can see the physics score. If we move across again we can see the graphics score. Moving to the other side we have the combined score, and then below we've got the laptop specifications again. But if I just compare to the online scores again, then you can see the laptop has scored that score, which is better than 38% of all results. Now I am aware that the laptop is like far from the top, but I didn't get this laptop for gaming. I mainly got it for video editing, for when I don't have my desktop, or like when I'm away somewhere and only have access to my laptop. I tell you what I did forget to run. I forgot to run the Geekbench 4 benchmark, or like system test, whatever you want to call it. I will just point out I am using the tryout free version of Geekbench. So I'm going to make sure the architecture is 64-bit. So now I'm going to go ahead and run the CPU benchmark. So I'll time-lapse this again. So there is the Geekbench CPU test over. So there's the model of notebook that the notebook is. There's the single core score for a single core of the CPU. There's a multi-core score for all 4 cores and 4 threads, because each core has its own thread. So in total the computer recognises 8 logical processors, which are the 4 cores and the 4 threads. And then we've just got other information down here, and if I just scroll down, so there we've got system information that I won't read it all out, I'll let you pause the video and read it in your own time. Now we've got single core performance. Let me just zoom in a bit. So there's all of that. I'll tell you what I'll do, I'll just let it scroll down, sort of. Oh, why does Geekbench have so many different test things? So yeah, there's all of the testing things regarding the CPU, and overall It got that for the single core and that for the multi-core score, and it was also running the 64-bit test. So now what I'm going to do is I could run the GPU benchmark on the Intel graphics, but I don't even use those graphics, so... Oh, right, it looks like I can't use a CUDA because that's for the full version, but can I use my 1050? Right, so I will be using the 1050 Ti in the OpenCL mode, because if I try to change it to CUDA, it comes up saying that like I can only use CUDA in like the full version, which I don't have. So OpenCL it is, but I have made sure it is using the primary graphics card. So let me just go ahead and run the benchmark again. And I'll also time-lapse this as well, so you don't need to watch it all the way through. Well, that's not very promising. Halfway through the benchmark, not responding. Oh, right, so apparently the website timed out. I'm just going to go ahead and restart the laptop. Okay, here we are. I have restarted the computer, so now let's go ahead and try again. If it does crash or time out or whatever with the 1050 Ti, then just for experimental sake, I will go ahead and run it with the Intel graphics and then try it with the 1050 again. Anyway, let's just go ahead and run that, and this time hope it works. So it looks like it worked this time, which is good. So there we go, the overall OpenCL score was 83,721. And we've got the date benchmark was ran. And then down here we've got system information. Let me just put it in that mode, so it will slowly scroll down. And if you want to read something, you can just pause the video and then read it. Oh, looks like that was it. So for the GPU benchmark, there's a lot less information than what there is for the CPU benchmark. There we go. I know I said 3D Mark would be the last benchmark that I would run, but I completely forgot about Geekbench until I ended the recording. So if you've seen my update video, you will remember I pointed out that I forgot to record the Cinebench R15 benchmarks on this laptop, so I'm going to go ahead and do this right now. I will just say, originally for the previous benchmarks, I have time-lapsed the benchmark and then put music over the top of it. I probably won't be doing that for the Cinebench benchmarks. What I'm probably going to do is record me starting the benchmark, then jump cut to the end of the benchmark, because the editing file that contains, well, the editing file itself where I can edit the video, due to it being a ridiculous length, I believe it's like 25 minutes, with loads of different effects and stuff in the video, my CPU can't really handle all of the effects and it crashes really frequently. So if I just try and add more effects to it, it's just going to make it crash and then I'll lose everything I did. So to keep it nice, plain and simple, I'm just going to jump cut it. No time lapsing, no music, no nothing. Anyway, with all of that said, I'm going to go up here and run the OpenGL benchmark. I will just point out this laptop is not overclocked in any way. The 1050 Ti is at stock clocks and the 7700HQ is also at stock clocks. I have not done any overclocking at all. So here is the first run on the OpenGL benchmark coming to an end. Let that fade out, and then there we go. So the first run on OpenGL, I'll run it 2 or 3 times, but like I said, I'll just jump cut it. So the first run has got us a FPS score of 89.47 FPS, and then you can see the card there and the score again, and how this card compares to all of those other cards that are on there. So there's that, and now I'll just go ahead and run the same benchmark again. Because I know Cinebench is a really sensitive benchmark, and literally just background programs open will affect your score. So I'm going to run each version, the OpenGL and the CPU one, at least 3 times in order to better take an average of what the average is. Here we are, just coming to the end of the second run. So I'll just let that fade out and then process. And then for the second run, we got a FPS score of 82.56. And again, that's how it compares to all those other cards. And now, where's the arrow? And now I'm going to go ahead and run it again for the third and final time. So I will be back once it's finished. Here we are, coming to the end of the third and final run. Fade out, update, and then for the third run we got a score of 83.57 FPS, which then compares, well, with those. So now I'm going to go ahead and run the CPU benchmark 3 times as well. So here we are, we've got 8 boxes for the 8 logical processors the computer detects, and as with before, I'll just jump cut you to when the benchmark is approaching finishing, if that made sense. So as you can hear from the laptop, that's its fan, or at least a CPU fan, at 100%, and there's the benchmark that has just finished. So if we go up, we can see the CPU scores a score of 708 CB. To be honest, I have no idea what the CB stands for, and that is where the CPU compares to those other CPUs. And as before, I'm just going to go ahead and run the benchmark again, because I'm doing it at least 3 times. Okay, so it's approaching the end of the benchmark right there, and if we go and have a look at the score again, you can see this time it's a bit of a different score. It's slightly lower, but the laptop has scored 698 CB, and that's how it compares again, which is in exactly the same place as it was before. So now for the third and final time, I'm going to go ahead and run the CPU benchmark again. The benchmark is approaching finishing again, if that made sense. I honestly have no idea. And there we go, for the third and final time we scored a score of 695 CB, and it's in exactly the same place it was before, with 3 CPUs above and 4 below. That's probably because the score has been consistently where it's at throughout all the benchmarks. So there you have it. There is the end of the Cinebench R15 benchmark running on this laptop. So if you enjoyed the video, like it. If you didn't, then dislike it. Consider subscribing, leave a comment if you want, share the video and favourite it if you want. And yeah, that is it for this video. So thank you for watching, and I shall speak to you in the next video.